Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Please share in the comments if you're joining us live or on the replay. And let us know if you have any questions for our panel today. We have Tina, Big Easy Homeschooling Mom. We have Laura from HeartSpark Homeschool and Melissa from Melissa is Teaching. We are going to be talking about homeschool organization. I think this is a topic that a lot of people are interested in because we all are trying to get more organized as we are homeschooling. I'm a homeschool graduate, so I can attest to the fact that there are going to be hundreds of printable pages flying around your house, and you are going to want to track things for transcripts and be able to keep track of all of your curriculum books. So there's a lot of different aspects that we are going to be discussing here today. Before we get started, I want to share a link to the Back to Home School giveaway that we're running. It just has 6 days left for you to be able to enter to win one of the 3 prize bundles. We are giving away a outdoor exploration kit as well as about $700 worth of prizes for pre-K to first, a telescope on the 2nd to 5th grade bundle, and about $500 in prizes. And on our 6th to 12th prize bundle, we're giving away a microscope and, again, about $500 in homeschool resources from our amazing sponsors. So I'm going to go ahead and share a link to that so you guys can enter to win. Hi, Lindy. Nice to see you. Hopefully you can learn a lot. Okay, so the first question that I have for all of you is, how do you organize your free printables? This can be the actual PDF files, and this can actually be the actual printables that you have available. So, Tina, I would love to hear from you on this question first.
Sure. Now, if you're tech savvy, I would highly recommend digital organization. I have actually my daughter, I started homeschooling her in 7th grade, and I have, if I needed it, full curriculums all the way to 12th grade for her stored on my Google Drive. Now, in saying that, it's really easy to do. I just break it up by grade, subject, and I color code each of those files different colors. ELA is pink, science can be blue, just something that that, okay, blue file is ELA. I'm in 8th grade. She's in 8th grade now. If I need anything, she does a full curriculum. However, we do some, if she needs some extra work, I have worksheets that I can access, print off. And that will alleviate having, if you have limited space, homeschooling space in your house, if you don't have an office. Unfortunately, I'm blessed enough to have a homeschool office, but if you have limited space, that will alleviate you having to store all these printed forms. Now, if you're not tech savvy and you do need physical organization, I would highly recommend the cheapest route to go would be maybe those little $5 bins at Walmart, and you can easily drop hanging file folders in there, and then just label everything. That's going to work for you. If you have multiple children in multiple grades, I recommend color coding one grade, one color, and so on. But I think that's the easiest way. Digital is the way to go. That's going to save you the most storage in your household if you're limited on space.
Laura, I would like to hear from you. How do you organize your free printables?
Well, I contribute to a lot of these homeschool bundles, and so by doing that, I have about probably 1,000 different printables because I get access to all the things each time. Many people will ask me, "Oh, well, how should I print this whole thing?" And I tell them all the time, print as you need. So I also store all of my stuff digitally. Google Drive is an excellent one, like Tina said. I also have a lot of stuff on PDF Expert. I just have the free version of that, and sometimes it is just tech smoother for me to put it in there. Like it doesn't want to automatically let me put it into Google Drive. And I also break things up by subject. And then I have one that is just labeled as unit studies. And then inside that, I have that broken up by topic. There's like a preschool file with all the little kid stuff, but then there's also things like nature. And then within nature, it might be seasons. And then within seasons, it might be fall. And so having it as organized by topic as possible is super handy. And then when I need something, I just go in there and I look by topic because we're always in the middle of some unit study. And so it's super handy. And I never, ever print the whole thing that whenever I get one of those things, because even if you do use every single resource, you probably won't use it before it gets destroyed with the paper.
Correct.
So I love having it all just digitally there in its files. So, and I'm not the most tech person either, so it's not that hard.
So, Melissa, how do you organize your free printables?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is to download it right away. When you get the email, download it. Don't just leave it there. Don't come back to it. And then I love Google Drive, but my Google Drive is so full. I cannot add more to it. And so I use an external hard drive. Let's see if I can do this without messing up my camera. But
Uh-oh.
let's see. Oh, get this back. All right. Let me quickly. But the idea here is that I can use this external hard drive to store everything. This has terabytes of storage in it. So I have all the curriculum in there as well as what I sell. And then similar to what was said earlier, I never print the whole thing. So it's just literally writing down the page numbers on a little piece of paper and saying, print 47, 49, skipping the ones you don't need. But I would say that I do print ahead of time. This was especially true. I have 4 kids. And so whenever I was pregnant and I knew I was going to not want to do something later on, I kind of started this folder of just stuff that would be useful, stuff that for those days that just are not active days, whether you're sick, the kids are sick, and you just need something chill. I always keep kind of a bonus folder of printables there that are ready to use whenever I need them.
So one of the tips that I saw one of our members mention was they actually also had a thumb drive that they would it could be anywhere, even just 30 gigabytes, and then they would put the ones that they want to print. If you don't have a printer at home, if you have that thumb drive with you, whenever you go to do errands, you can go to the library and print your different printables for the week. So you being able to have that external drive or Google Drive and then being able to put those onto the thumb drive so that you can be able something you take with you. So whenever you happen to be in town, you're able to make the most of your trips. So that's one if you guys don't actually have a printer at home. So what about craft supplies? I know we're all talking about doing unit studies, and I know that craft supplies is a big part of that. So how do you guys recommend and how do you organize your craft supplies? Tina, I'd like to hear from you first.
Yeah, I simply just have, I don't know if you've seen those 3-drawer rolling carts, I guess you would call them. And I have everything organized within those, or big storage bins, like my craft supplies. I have a lot of that out in my garage because my storage bin is so full of it. Just make sure that if you're, sorting, that you have painting supplies together, coloring supplies together, craft supplies together, sewing supplies. That way it makes it easier for you. If you have some of those 3-drawer carts, it's just really easy to put some organization, like we have these like for paper clips, erasers. You could just put little plastic containers within the carts. That way you can keep everything organized. But I would definitely do it by categories. That way you know where everything's at and you can have easy access. Also make sure that when you're storing everything in these carts that you're going to be labeling those drawers. That way um, you don't have to go fumbling through every drawer to figure out where everything's at. And, just make sure everything's within reach. If you don't have, like I said earlier, if you don't have a lot of room, you can put it out in your garage, put it in a different, room. They just roll, it's very easily accessible for students and parents. I just find the 3-drawer rolling cabinets are the best way to go for craft supplies.
Laura, I'd like to hear from you. How do you organize your craft supplies and supplies for unit studies and whatnot?
Well, we lived in an RV for the last 3 years and only just back into a house, and so that made us very, very minimal. So that's a big thing is I keep it pretty minimal. We do love crafts, but one of the biggest things I try to steer my kids towards is like paper crafts because that doesn't take up a lot of space. Besides that, our table actually has shelves in it and drawers in it, and so I utilize those as much as I can. I have a basket of painting stuff. I have a basket of kind of nature explore stuff, bug catchers and fossils and things like that. And I don't know how else to say it except for just having them in their own little compartments.
And Melissa, what about you? How do you organize your
Sure.
craft supplies?
We don't have a lot of space for our materials. We do have a big armoire kind of upstairs in a craft room where everything can just get messy. Like, I don't really care if glitter spills, like it'll be fine. So that is, away. And as Laura and Tina have said, keep it all, in its spot. But for unit studies in particular, we've got a bunch of these just super basic plastic bins. And I'm sitting at my kitchen table right now, and it's full of piles. So each kid has kind of a pile, generally, of what they're working on. And so if it's book studies, if it's, something with geography, it all kind of hopefully lives in one of those boxes. And we don't have a specific place where we do homeschool. So, it might be on the couch, might be on the floor, it might be on a beach towel outside. Like, it just could happen anywhere. So those boxes are really helpful just to keep things moving and hopefully not see too much wear and tear on them.
I love that idea. Go ahead, Laura.
No, I just thought about something. I don't know that it directly fits into this category or not, but I print all my kids' school, whether it's unit studies or not. And so I have like a little little plasticky folder bag thing here with their names. And then inside that, I have it clipped by subject. So I print this every couple weeks, and then the night before I pull out whatever it is we're going to work on that day. So I figured that might also go in with that organization category.
Absolutely. So, how do you guys organize your homeschool curriculum? This can be actual like workbooks, or like if you have like something that's digital that you're printing off of, similar to what Laura was sharing. How do you guys keep that organized and not damaged? I think would probably be the goal when it comes to being able to potentially use it for the next kid down the line. So, Tina, how do you keep your homeschool curriculum organized?
Well, for us personally, most of our homeschool curriculum is online. Um, but she does have some items that she does need printed, and I normally do that on a Sunday. That way she has them for that week. And we just simply place them. She has a binder, a 3-ring binder for each subject that she's in. And we just place those appropriate printables in those subject binders. Or, I can, if she just says, Mom, I need this printed real quick, she'll send me whatever she needs. And I just do it that way. It's really, if you're going to keep your binders, just make sure that you, like this year she's doing for ELA, she's doing lit and comp. So I have something, for creative writing, just be sure to be organized within those binders. Just don't throw pages in those binders. Have dividers. Break it up by whatever topic that you're working on for that respective week. And that will help you keep a little bit of your sanity. You can get, if you don't want it, the 3-ring binders are a little bit, I don't know, they can be anywhere from $9 to $12. So if you have multiple kids, I understand that could be something that's expensive, but you can get the, 1-ring binder. Sometimes you can find those for pre-sale or preschool back to school sales for like $1. Like I hit up those sales, even though I have so many supplies. I hit up those sales with their 50, composition books are 50 cents at Walmart. I get like tons of those for the next years. So if you can do that, that's a great thing to do. But make sure you get at least 1-inch binders for your subjects. That way you can use those weekly, and it's more affordable if you have multiple kids.
That's some great tips. I know that my mom always hit up those back to school sales, and we would always be like, September, we're going to get notebooks someday, and erasers and new pens and things like that. And that is a lot of fun, especially even if you haven't finished, your kid hasn't finished using their notebook. You don't underestimate the fun factor of being able to have new notebook or new art supplies, things like that, to kind of refresh your homeschool for the year. So, Laura, talk to us about how you organize your homeschool curriculum. You showed a little bit about what you do with the pouches. Do you have anything else that you do to organize the curriculum?
Well, I actually don't have any textbooks at all. Because of the RV life, I specifically chose digital download things so that I didn't have textbooks. So everything that we use currently is all in these printables that I have separated by subject. And then at the end of the day, when we're done, I have three-ring binders for each kid, each grade, and I put their finished work inside there. And by the end of the year, and I've noticed that this is 4th grade, and we're already filling it up faster. So it may be at some point we'll need two binders for a year. And by the end of the year, I usually don't save every single thing, but it gives me a nice, easy, safe place to just put their finished work, gives me lots of proof that they are doing something. And it works out well for my for my brain to just put it right in there. And then we do most of our school on clipboards. So the night before I set up their work, it helps me immensely to have that done the night before. I can't even tell you. It only takes a few minutes to do, but it just makes the morning so much smoother to have all their work already on the clipboards, have their pencils sharpened on the clipboards. And then I usually even go through and put like a little like scribble star on the things that they can do independently. So when we get going the next morning, they can start on that kind of stuff before I have to necessarily help anybody, so they can be working on that during breakfast. So those are how I usually do things.
Nice. I like being able to help identify where they can do independent work, and being able to give them more agency. So, Melissa, how do you organize your homeschool curriculum or textbooks?
Yeah, so we've got, we do have physical textbooks, so each kid's kind of got their own pile of things here. But I love that you mentioned clipboards, Laura. Got clipboards as much as possible, just try to help contain some things, but also their printed unit studies, book studies, stuff like that. Just the triple staple to try to help it survive the length of the unit, whatever they're working on. But I wanted to mention online curriculum. We do a lot on Freckle and Libby and our French games and stuff like that. So don't underestimate the power of the Google Chrome bookmark bar. Delete the words that go after the favicon, that's like the little icon there. And the kids recognize the favicon. They know what reading A to Z looks like. They know what their French thing looks like. They know what National Geographic looks like. And so being able to just have a bunch of those at the top, that's really quick and easy. And then as they've gotten older, we use Nearpod a lot. And so being able to put their links for certain things in a Google Doc, they each have kind of a main Google Doc. Now that they're getting older, there's more that just keep popping up in Drive. But having a doc where the links live, and even giving them, labels. Hey, Monday, October 7th, you need to get this done. Tuesday, October 7th, Tuesday, October 8th, you need to get this done, that sort of thing. So giving them a little bit of an outline there can also act like an agenda as well. So whether digital or print, kind of keeping everything, at least in our case with 4, it does take up a little bit more space, but trying to do that physically and digitally has really helped us.
So let's talk about, Laura, you kind of mentioned, and Tina, you mentioned a little bit on how you keep important documents organized for transcripts. Do you guys have any other tips that you wanted to share, Tina?
Yeah.
Or is,
We live in Louisiana, so the state of Louisiana requires that I submit a homeschool portfolio for when I renew her homeschool application every year. So I do that every April because that was when I initially applied last year. Now they don't want, at least for us, they just want some sample work. So most you don't have to save everything that your child does, at least on our end. I just save sample projects if she's doing a project, diorama, take pictures. And I put that like in Canva. I can put that into a document, and then I just email everything to them electronically. Because that's what they prefer from us. But if you don't have that access and your state doesn't require that, then I would say that either mom or dad or grandma or whoever is homeschooling your child, just keep their own portfolio or homeschool parent binder, and keep those important paperwork in that binder for them if you're not tech savvy. Every quarter, we kind of follow a traditional calendar. So every quarter I do issue a report card. So that's where I would put a copy of that report card. Or any of her curriculum, lesson plans, things of that nature. That's what I would keep in that parent binder. That way I can follow along what she's doing every week. Now, if you're tech savvy, even though my daughter's curriculum is 100% online, like I said, we do print some things off that she, it's hard to do Algebra 1 online. So I do print, I do have textbooks for that for her, for the respective curriculum that she's using, because it's easier to do that type of book work, actual book work, than rather do it online. But as far as keeping documents organized, I keep all that digitally. And I do keep some things, in a binder, a parent binder, like the lesson plans for the year, things of that nature. So it all depends how organized you want to be. But I would recommend that if you have multiple kids, you have to be organized. You have to be. Unfortunately, I only have one child, so I don't have a lot of mess, as when you have younger kids with crafts and things of that nature. So I'm pretty well organized in my office. And my daughter, if there's anything that I have to send her, all her, her curriculum has all the links that she needs to go to. But if she's having some trouble in some areas, we do utilize Google Classroom sometimes, to where I can send her links. Okay, well, here's a little bit more work you can do on algebra from Khan Academy or whatever. And I can send her that through Google Classroom. And that's also a good tool to use to be organized as well. If you want to know what your child's doing, links that you send them, emails that you can send your children, that's a good tool to use to be organized as well.
so Laura, how do you keep your important documents organized for transcripts or portfolios and things like that?
Well, my oldest are in 4th grade, so we haven't been thinking super hard about transcripts yet. Like I said, I am keeping those binders. We're in Texas, so you really don't have to keep like anything, but I do, just because it doesn't take that much space to put binders and to have it just in case, just in case. And I like having at least something where I can kind of go back and see what we did that year, and gives me a nice, easy place to put it. But as time goes on, when we do start really saving things for transcripts and stuff, I definitely would want to do it digitally. I really like the Canva idea for that. I already use Canva for a lot of other things. I never thought about it for transcript stuff, but I really like that idea. And I know that your phone can take cam scanner type pictures of things they're working on too, so that it would be a very easy way to just save work and put it together and have a digital file to send to whatever college or whatever you're applying to.
And Melissa, what about you? How do you keep important documents organized?
Yeah, for right now, it's all digital. But my oldest is in 7th grade this year. And so we also are still just ramping up toward that. In Virginia, I'm a licensed teacher. And so we don't have to submit portfolios every year or anything. So it's nice to be in that boat. But at the same time, if I put my portfolio hat on for a minute, that's how I would do it. I would just keep files, folders on Google Drive for each kid, take pictures, put it in there, don't leave it for later. It's kind of like your taxes, right? You're doing your future self a favor. If you keep it organized throughout the year, if you update it each month, if you update it after each unit, it's way better in the end. And it's just that much easier.
So, how do you organize your homeschool day? I think that we've kind of touched on this a little bit here with some of the different questions that we talked about. This is kind of more of like a schedule. How do you guys come up with your schedule, and how do you keep track of that? Do you use a planner, a calendar, a particular online program? Tina, I'd like to hear from you on this. How do you organize your child's homeschool day?
Well, like I said previously, her whole curriculum is online. So that schedule's already made out for the year. I'm pretty lax. We usually do a 10 to 2 day for her because she's 8th grade. So it only takes her about 4 hours to get through her full curriculum. Usually the older ones is going to take a little bit less time. It's not a day long schedule. And it doesn't have to be. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is we don't have to mimic the brick and mortar schedule. It doesn't have to be at 8 to 3. So I'm pretty lax. It depends on if she's had a good night of sleep or if she's had a rough night. I just kind of lax. Whenever she gets up, she usually jumps right on it. She's pretty self-motivated. She's independent. I don't really have to monitor her too much. So I'm blessed in that way. But her schedule is fully online. Feeling well one day, take a break. Don't have, it's homeschooling. If they're not feeling well yet, have appointments, we'll do it later. And sometimes I do like I said earlier, I do have some books for some subjects. So if she's not feeling well one day, she'll take that book and just do some creative writing, some lit and comp, laying in her bed. I mean, you can homeschool anywhere. Like somebody said earlier, office, dining room, couch. She lays in her bed sometimes. It just all depends. We have that flexibility. So take advantage of that. Let your kids, they'll learn their own little style of how they want to do school. I know for the younger ones, you have to keep them a little bit more focused, but the older ones, I can depend on my daughter to get done what she needs to be done. She'll say, I'm done. I'll forward her to the next day, end of day. It's easy for us. It's been a breeze for us. I can understand frustration if you have multiple children. Because that can be a little frustrating, but the key to being able to do that is to stay organized, be prepared. Don't print things the day of. Print it like Sunday before your school week begins, and just be a little bit on top of it. If you have everything organized digitally, it's easy to print off what you need for that week. And that's just my recommendation. It's been a breeze for us. And we're here, for the ones that are having a rough time or have very frantic or overwhelmed, you can always just email me. I have lots of tips for you. There's always resolution to whatever problem there is. Unfortunately, I've just found ways to just keep that day running, and it's been smooth for us. Just be organized, label
That's
everything,
awesome.
break everything up by grade, and it'll work out fine.
So, Laura, how do you organize your homeschool day?
Well, I definitely agree with having your stuff printed out ahead of time. I don't print every single thing, but I do it for a week or two at a time, maybe up to 3 weeks. I'll have all my stuff printed out. And then like I said before, having it set up before the night before. I used to work in a restaurant, and there's a term called close to open. So if you leave your evening ready to walk in and get started, it really, 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 really helps so much. It only takes a couple minutes to do, but for whatever reason, if you don't do it the night before, you're scrambling and overwhelmed with other things. Got to take the dog out, got to get the kids dressed, got to make breakfast, all the things. And so it helps me so much to just have it done the night before on the clipboards. We are pretty on the go. We do a lot of things, and we do school before, after, during, wherever it fits. And my kids are smaller, not super small, but 10, 10, 8, and 7. So I do have younger kids, and a lot of them in a close age range. And they get used to it. They really get used to it. I've actually found my kids are more motivated when we are doing, like, go busy doing something and they're doing it on the go, than when we're just at home, because they're trying to get it done quickly so that they don't have to work on it at the park or at wherever we are. They want to have it done. So they actually go faster on those days than when we are just home and we're just there doing it. So I found that to be a little bit interesting on that. And then our school day usually starts like during breakfast. So I always have some unit study we are doing. And so I let them watch YouTube videos about that, Bible stories and things like that, while they're eating breakfast. And then we just transition straight into school afterwards. And then it takes us about 3-ish hours to get everybody done, but that might be broken up into a break or two. But yeah, and then as soon as they're done with school for the day, I go ahead and pack it up and I get set up for the next day. So that's how we do it.
That's awesome. Melissa, share with us how you organize your kids' homeschool day.
Yeah, so I teach early in the morning, and so my husband actually starts our homeschool day with our kids. They start with math. Their math books are all out at their breakfast spot, and we do overnight oats, and so they know how to pop them in the microwave for 30 seconds and then start eating while they work on math. And to be honest, a lot of times they do their math the night before, so they're really close into open, Laura. So they're just ready to skip right through math the next day. And so being able to get math done quickly, and then once I come down around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, we move into things that I'm needed for. So ELA with the youngest, who's in first grade now. And so, 30 minutes with her or so. And then each of the other ones, usually I'm just checking in with them, being sure that they've gotten what they need to get done. And then there's some things that, we reuse all of our textbooks. And so there's some things where I'm like, don't circle, just talk with me about it when I get down. And so they'll talk through what we need to there. And then while I'm meeting one-on-one with the kids, they're all going through piano or guitar or mandolin or French or stuff on the computer, or doing chores, getting dressed, brushing teeth, all those things that also have to happen. So I would kind of second the idea of just really harping on these executive function skills. We've had different iterations. I'm looking around at different chairs and things that are taped on the wall near their spots, just a list of what they need to get done. Doesn't matter the order, as long as it does get done and they're able to kind of keep track. That's really important to me. One more important thing is that we only do a 4-day school week. So we don't do school on Friday. We have Fun Friday. that is great for appointments. 6 dentist appointments back to back is a lot, but we can get that done on a Friday. If we're hanging out with friends, going to the library, going on a trip, that's great too. So it's nice to kind of take that anxiety off of my husband and I to be able to just say, okay, Friday, chill. And so we both who work from home can also get more done on Fridays as well. So it works for everybody and speaks to the long-term hope that we have kind of for our homeschool. We want to do this for the long run, and we don't want to get burnt out early on.
Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
I thought of something else that might help other multiple kid families. The reason why I started doing the little stars on the School for Independent Work is because when you starting off your day where you're trying to help every single person at the same time, it's very overwhelming. And I discovered having them start with independent work, they finish that at different times naturally. And so as one child finishes that page, you can work with them on something that is something you actually have to teach them and work with them. And then it staggers it more naturally rather than everybody is waiting on you and everybody's calling you from every direction. I don't think I intentionally meant to do it that way, but it kind of accidentally happened. And I realized that, wow, this is actually a whole lot easier for multiple kids.
No, I definitely agree with that. It's definitely important to have things that you can be able to be like, hey, you go do your math workbook, or you go watch this YouTube video. Even having some documentaries that if you have younger kids and older kids, having some documentaries the younger kids can watch while you're helping the older kids with lessons can be really helpful. So I want to share with everyone, I just shared in the comments freebies from each one of the panelists here. We have a freebie, The History of Halloween Reading Passages, Q&A, and note-taking pages from Tina. We have from Melissa a week of writing warm-up prompts for grades 2nd through 5th. And Laura is offering 50% off coupon to her Bridges Around the World unit study with the coupon code HQLove. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and definitely check out these resources from these awesome creators. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.